And joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, on the Malzberg panel, the often imitated, never duplicated Malzberg panel, Brad Hirschfield, president of CLAL and author of You Don't Have to Be Wrong for Me to Be Right, and Adam Thompson, senior partner at the law offices of Adam and Thompson, criminal defense attorney and syndicated talk show host. Gentlemen, welcome aboard on this day after Trump in New York State and day after Hillary as well. So, Brad, take it race by race. There were only two of them, so that's easy. Are they over?
Look, I don't think they're over, but they're numerically in a weird place. Ted Cruz cannot get mathematically to 1237. No way, no how. So if he's going to get a nomination, it will only be through a contested election. Hillary is in the, I guess in theory, Bernie could get the nomination. He would have to win about 64% of the popular vote in every remaining race. I don't think there's a chance, and you know what, of that happening.
H-E double toothpicks.
Effectively, on the Democratic side, it is over. I don't know if Trump's going to make 1237, but I do think, and this is what's important about last night in New York, the more overwhelming his victories become, the more compelling the argument to the unbound candidates in places like Pennsylvania become to support Trump. And so whether he gets there 1237 pre or gets there because the unbound say the overwhelming majority of people in the party support him, I think he's a lot closer.
Adam, you know, for Cruz to digest and try to spin not getting one delegate after putting time in New York and, you know, and Trump getting 60% of the vote in a three-man race, that's pretty hard to spin away.
There's no spin you can put on it. Listen, it's going to be much of the same moving forward. I think a week or so ago when we were discussing what to anticipate in New York, I called that he was going to get 60 to 65%, and he would double the other two remaining candidates combined, and he did just that. You're going to see much of the same in the Northeast, and when they go to more of the liberal states, Ted Cruz is basically done. But him and the other candidate will stay for one reason, just to try to prevent Trump from getting to the magic number to make it an open convention, which is wrong in my opinion. Trump really should lock it up after what took place in New York, but we're going to keep going through these games. As far as the Democrats, I do think now it's over. I thought Bernie was going to do better in New York. His turnouts were amazing. He had a ton of momentum. I was pretty surprised that he got so low as he did. And at this point, the writing is on the wall. It may be time for him to call it a day.
Brad,
I hope he stays in.
Brad, you know, the thing about Bernie, and I don't know if Hillary, you know, has something on him other than, you know, threatening maybe him to bring up the, when he wrote that women, when they're having sex, dream about being raped by three men. Maybe she said, I'll bring that up if you go anywhere near me with emails or anything. But he hasn't gone after her. You know, the Wall Street speeches, the Wall Street speeches, the Wall Street speeches. There's so much about Benghazi and judgment. He talks about judgment. Judgment on emails, judgment on Benghazi, judgment on other issues, which he never even goes near. So he didn't really want to win this race.
I think he did want to win, but I think you're right that he didn't go after the way he might have. And I think, interestingly here, the Democrats have consistently learned Ronald Reagan's lesson and taken it more to heart than Republicans have, which is be very careful about attacking people in your own party, because that simply fuels the other party later on. And so I think what he's tried to do is win. I think he went after Wall Street, and that's what we saw in New York. The only base of support where he won were people who fundamentally think Wall Street's the enemy and were animated mostly by redistribution of wealth. He's a socialist. He's gone after the socialist issues, and that's where he's most comfortable. So I think he didn't go after those issues not because he didn't want to win, but because his heart and soul is invested in socialism. Yeah, and that's what attacked her.
But Adam, I disagree with Brad on the fact that the Reagan rule, you know, the don't bash your own party. I'm paraphrasing here. He did go there. He did question her judgment. He did attack her time and time again, but not on issues that you know would make sense to attack her on.
I agree with you 100%, Stephen. Brad, you're off on this. I'll tell you why. If Bernie keeps promoting himself as the speaker of the people, as the person that's leading this revolution for change, then mean what you say and back it up. If you're saying Hillary Clinton is in bed with the very people that you are calling villains and evil and that they need to be disenfranchised and removed from the system, then you have to attack the person that's part of that system and going to work with those people if she gets elected. So if she comes and gets the nomination and then wins, she's going to be representing those same people that he's been fighting all his career to get rid of in the whole political system. So he needed to go after her on character, credibility and integrity. He failed to do that, and I think hurt him because you can't lead the revolution without being willing to mix it up.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Guys, I want to move on to two stories. One, the U.S. Court of Appeals, Fourth Circuit, sided with a student for transgender bathrooms, bowing to the rules of the Department of Education. I mean, this is a win for the Obama administration, but this is a huge loss, Brad, for America and the school system. I mean, it'll be appealed, I'm sure, but to give us, a kid permission to use any bathroom they want simply because they say, I'm a girl, I'm a boy, and if that's translating into the rest of the country as well, into public buildings, government buildings, is a huge mistake.
So I hear what you're saying, Steve. I want to be clear. The Court of Appeals did not side with the student. It is a victory for the Obama administration. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, there's a lot to debate there. But it is a victory for them in the short term. They simply returned the case to the lower court to be heard. I don't think we've heard the last of this, whatever the decision of that court is. I think the real issue here is that the two sides are each 100% right about 50% of reality. There is biological identity, and there is gender identity.
All right, I got to end it there. Adam, last word. Adam, last word. Last word, Adam.
We got a long way to go. This will go up to the U.S. Supreme Court, and depending on what the tipping of the scales is going to be on what justices are hearing it, that's what the outcome will be.
Yeah. All right, guys, we leave it there. I thank you both very much, Adam Thompson and Brad Hirschfield. Up next, folks, we're going to take some of your phone calls, so do not go away. Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax Television.